Charlie McLean. Stuart, how are you? Yeah? Yep, now I can do that. Great, good. 6 people? Excellent. Good. I'll see you then. Bye. I've been invited to go to Cragganmore Distillery on Speyside to host a nosing and tasting, but before I set off, there are certain things I must collect. Morning. Kippers. That would be absolutely lovely. Great. Thanks very much indeed. Quite apart from the distillers themselves, a huge number of people are involved with the classic malts. There are those who work in the maltings where barley is turned into malt. The coopers who make the oak casks which mature the whisky. The tour guides who show thousands of visitors around the distilleries each year. From time to time, some of these people are invited to get a little closer to the product, which plays such a large part in their lives: whisky. Just the job, John. That will do very nicely. Thanks very much indeed. Today, 6 of them are going to attend a special nosing and tasting at Cragganmore Distillery on Speyside. And Stuart Robertson, the manager there, has asked me to host it. A privilege, and also quite a challenge. These people may have tasted all 6 classic malts. They may not have tasted any. My task is to show them how to get the most out of the whiskies and to help them develop a language of nosing and tasting. Or, in Stuart's words, my task is to teach their taste buds to talk. Well, Mr. Robertson.
Charles McLean.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I'd like you to meet some folk that we've gathered around today. This is Linda.
Hi, Linda.
My name's Linda Millis, and I work in Elgin in the heart of Speyside, where I help with events and promotions for all of our malt whiskies.
My name is Ewan Ogilvie. I used to be at Royal Lochnagar Distillery on Deeside, but I'm now at Burghead Maltings making the malt.
My name's Sabina Jimison. I look after visitors at Oban Distillery in the West Highlands.
Hi, my name's Vic Cameron. I make whisky at Dulhuan and Benrinnes Distilleries, just up the road from Cragganmore.
Hi, my name's Jim McCowan. I oversee 3 distilleries in Speyside: Dufton, Glendillan and the famous Mortlach.
Hi, I'm Duncan Tate and I'm the operations manager at Glenkinchie, the Classic Malts distillery in the Lowlands.
Well, Stuart has gone off to do some work with Dr. Jim Beveridge, who is one of the great noses in the trade. And this is great from our point of view. And I thought it'd be useful for you to meet him first, and he could explain some of the theory behind what we're going to do before we get tore into the practical bit of nosing and tasting whisky. Hiya. We found you. Jim, these are the folk that I mentioned to you, and they're here at Cragganmore today doing a course on nosing and tasting. Yeah. And I was wondering if perhaps you could say a few words to them about the language we use when we describe whisky?
Well, we're here, Charlie, looking at the flavours of the whiskies in the casks here at Cragganmore. And Stuart and I we're using a language to describe the different flavours. And that language has been developed by, first of all, the first thing that happens is that when we, as individuals, know the whiskies, we start to think of the flavours that reminds us of, and that's using our own kind of personal language. That's the first stage. We've got to simplify that, though, because to review the stocks here and talk about whiskies to other people, we need to, if you like, simplify the language. And that's the next stage that we do, is agree the terms that we use to simplify the language. And once we've got to that point, then we can have quite sensible conversations, but using fairly simple terms that are not our own personal language, but are agreed terms that we use together. And even then, after that stage, we then simplify even further into major flavour groupings. That's the third stage, if you like. And those flavour groupings allow us to talk about the big flavour differences that are taking place in the warehouses between different distilleries and different casks. So it's like 3 stages. The first stage is our own language, talking to each other about it, using our own terms. The next stage is simplifying that into more general terms. And then even simpler than that is the groupings of major whisky styles.
My granny's apple pie to baked apple, or cooked apples to fruit.
That's brilliant. And, and we represent that often as a wheel, this idea of a wheel. With the outer edge of the wheel is our own language, granny's apple pie. The inner part is the generalising bit, and the final bit is the fruity bit that Charlie's talking about. That's the idea of the flavour wheel. And it works very well.
Well, at last we have some drinks in front of us. What we're doing is an exercise in sensory evaluation. Now it's a kind of posh word for tasting, but it's more accurate than saying tasting, because we're using all our senses. How you enjoy whiskey on its own, with water, with ice, even, perish the thought, with Coca-Cola, doesn't matter a damn. But what we're talking about is the best way to get the most out of the dram in your glass. It's something that you can do with your friends. It just enhances your enjoyment. Whiskey is about enjoyment, and this is a way of getting the most out of the dram. We start by evaluating the appearance of the whiskey in the glass. Appearance is colour, is brightness, is clarity. Sometimes you can look at the legs, which tells you something about texture. Okay? The next stage is to nose the whiskey at full strength. Take your notes, and then you add your water, and you do it again, and only after these 2-3 stages do you actually taste it. And when we come to the tasting bit, you'll be looking for these primary tastes, which no doubt Jim will tell us about. You'll be looking for texture, and you'll be looking for the overall flavour. Right. Jim.
Okay.
Over to you.
Well, we're going to start off with Dalwhinnie.